Hey there, guys. Welcome to another edition of Retro RAW Reviews. Today, we go back and explore Raw episode 14. This was held in New York City at the Manhattan Center, April 26, 1993. We have some ups to ups, some downs to downs, so let's get right into it. So we start off this episode of Raw with our first match. Mr. Perfect defeats Damien Demento in 5 minutes. Now this match gets a down because it was an okay match, but it didn't really do much. It looked obvious that Mr. Perfect was winning, and unless some kind of interference or shenanigans happened or took place, we kind of knew Mr. Perfect was going to come out on top the whole time. Damien Demento at this time has had no positive outcomes on Raw, other than maybe a squash match or two, but Damien Demento's not really been seen on pay-per-views. He's not really been in the big match scene. So seeing him go up against a legend already in Mr. Perfect, we knew the whole time Perfect was going to win. So because of predictability and just not really doing much, it gets it down. So then we get on to a segment that gets an up from me personally, because this is an anti-drug speech by local school kid Jasmine McNeil. Now this little girl, Jasmine, she was a winner of a contest, and she wrote an essay about drugs and how you shouldn't do them and stuff. And as a big fan of WWE's community work, this segment was great. Undertaker appeared in the video, which was really cool, and it was amazing to see the community work in action as we spoke at this time. So she's going and giving her speech about drugs being bad and stuff, and she's in like a dark room, and out of the shadows, the Undertaker appears and goes, and says that drugs are bad, dope is bad. And it was just really cool to see WWE and the student come together and do this cool community project. Gets an up for me. So then we get on to our second match. Lex Luger defeats Crush via countout. This match went on for 13 minutes, and it gets an up because, first off, it was a solid match. This is the first time we've seen Lex Luger face someone as big as him, if not bigger than him. Crush got to show off his strength and athleticism here. Yes, Luger won on coming out on top of everything, but we had a 2-doink distraction, which cost Crush the match. And it was a good way to end the match because no one got pinned. Luger didn't have to look weak. Crush going out there and crushing it, no pun intended. He lost by countout. He didn't get pinned or submitted, so it made him, it kept him from looking weak. And it just was a good match. Like, out of all 14 episodes of Raw, this would be one of those matches that I would say, hey, you need to go back and watch this thus far. And it's probably one of the best matches on Raw that we've seen to this date. So it gets an up in my book. And then we get on to match 3. Mr. Hughes defeats Jason Knight, who's a jobber. Now, this match was 2 minutes long, and the reason I give it an up is because Mr. Hughes makes his Raw debut, and he defeats jobber Jason Knight. Sure, the match isn't a must-see, but it is a new way to introduce new stars that they wanted to push. So it gets him up. Mr. Hughes, he had experience in other wrestling promotions. He comes to WWE, and he had some more appearances later on down the road. But, this is WWE trying to build new stars, bring in new people, and this wasn't like jobber Jason Knight here, who shows up and gets defeated every time he's in the ring. This was them trying to build a new character out of nothing, out of scratch. So I give them an up for it. Mr. Hughes makes his Raw debut, new stars born, and WWE trying to get more characters that in the business that the fans will like to see. And then our next segment is actually a promo. We see the debut promo play for the Smoking Guns, Billy and Bart Gunn, and it gets an up because the Smoking Guns debut promos plays, and what we know now, from what we know now, how things turned out here in 2024, we have to appreciate what it gave us down the road. Without this segment, maybe we don't get New Age Outlaws and CX and everything else that Bart and Billy's done for us. So here we are, right after a match debuting a new star. Here we are getting a promo debuting a new tag team. And with teams like Money Inc. and Beverly Brothers and Steiner Brothers, this is how you do it. You play a few promos and you build your way up into bringing a new tag team, 2 stars, but 1 team into the business. I like it. Then we come back from commercial break, and our next segment in the ring is Vince McMahon interviewing Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels, and this segment gets an up because this was classic heel Shawn Michaels, coming out, putting down the people, putting down the competition. If you wanted a heel Shawn Michaels, and you remember heel Shawn Michaels from 97 or 98 or whatever, this was the I guess the pre-heel Shawn. They knew in the future they could use him as a heel, but this was not too fresh off of the rockers, but Shawn Michaels just now showing us, like, hey, I am that guy. I am the guy you're gonna hate. And it's true. Everyone despised Shawn because of how he was able to put down the crowd and the fans, the opponents, and anyone that he felt the need to. And he puts down his future opponent here, Mr. Perfect, who Mr. Perfect has a future Intercontinental title shot. We already know he's going to face Shawn down the road for the title. Mr. Perfect comes out. You see an altercation. Both men are wanting to tear each other's throats out. And this just hypes up the Michaels Perfect match for the title coming up. So this gets an up in my book. But then we get on to our 4th and final match, our main event. Typhoon defeats Skull Von Crush, who would in later years be known as Vito. Yes, the dress-wearing guy. Now this match gets a down because first off, it was 2.5 minutes. And we've seen Skull Von Crush here face people like Tatanka and other people, and you can just tell that he looks weak in these matches. As big of a guy as he is, he does not have any success at this point. He does not look big and bad, although he is big. And just like any other match, he doesn't look strong. He looks weak as always. And it was obvious Typhoon was going to win the match. It was nothing special. Hacksaw Jim Duggan calls in and talks about his Intercontinental title match next week on Raw with Shawn, and that was actually more exciting than the match itself. So when a call in from a wrestler is more exciting than the 2.5 minute match you got going on, man, you're doing something wrong with the talent and the scheduling and the match and everything. It gets it down. And then we move on to our last segment. Right before the show closes, a couple at ringside gets engaged. The man proposes to her with the help of Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan takes the microphone, goes over there, says, hey, this gentleman here has something to say to you. And he proposes to her. She says yes. Bobby Heenan pretty much held this guy's hand all the way because not only was he proposing to his girlfriend, but on live TV. So it was kind of nice to have Bobby Heenan there as a wingman, so to speak, to help get this guy through it. And it was nice to see WWE put the camera on the fans and do something for them other than wrestling. So it was a nice segment. It was really cool to see in my eyes. So I give it an up. Well, folks, that's it for episode 14 of Monday Night Raw and of Retro Raw Reviews. Ring Post Daily podcast co-host, Awesome One Joey here. Do me a favor and don't forget to go check out Ring Post Daily podcast over on Facebook. I can't wait to see you in the next episode of Retro Raw Reviews. Let me know in the comments what you agreed with, what you disagreed with, what you did like, what you didn't like, what you hated seeing, and what you would have liked seeing. The comment section is right there for your voices to be heard, and I can't wait to see what y'all have to say about it. So, thanks for watching this edition of Retro Raw Reviews. Awesome One Joey here. We'll see you in the next episode.